Okay, let's be real for a second. You've probably tried some strategies like cold DMs, cold emails, and it probably hasn't been working for you. And that's why you're watching this video right here. And I want to be the person to help you get your first client. And I know for a fact you can do it if you watch this video and take action. But if you can't sit through these 15 minutes of immense value, then it's probably not for you, right? Business is probably not the right vehicle for you, because 15 minutes is not a lot of time, and I've spent a lot of time making this. So first of all, besides that, why should you listen to me? Well, I was in your exact position not long ago, like literally less than 2 years ago. I was one of the only friends that I knew that didn't go to university. In fact, I didn't know a single person who decided to go the same route as me, which was to screw the traditional education system and just go down the path of entrepreneurship. Like, I didn't know a single other person around me, right? And it took me a whole 6 months to get my first client. So that is crazy, and I don't wish anyone to go through those 6 months that I had to go through, and that's why I'm making this video right here. And it felt like I tried everything. In fact, I did try cold DMs, cold emails, cold calling, and it actually felt like the harder I worked, the less progress I saw. But since that moment, I've been able to scale past $50,000 per month in a pretty damn quick speed. So yeah, I'm going to be showing how I did it in this video, how you can do the same, and more importantly, how you can get your first client or next client very easily. So all you need is just a niche. That's literally it. You need to know who you're helping, and assuming you have that or have an idea of that, we can get started, and I'm going to show you how you're going to do this. So first thing I want to break down, right, is the 4 ways that you can provide units of value to a marketplace. So units of value is just a measurement for the amount of value that you provide, right? So there are 4 ways that you are going to go about this, right? You could do paid ads, content, affiliates, cold outreach, but you wouldn't do all 4 because you would distribute your attention and spread yourself too thin. You would only do 1 or 2. Now, bearing in mind that you're a beginner, I know you probably don't have capital, you probably don't have experience, so immediately we can pretty much rule out paid ads if you don't have any capital, you don't have any clients, because I just wouldn't recommend it, because you'd be scaling the problem on the back end even if you could get clients. But nonetheless, right, that's a story for another day. Let's talk about affiliates, because obviously to run an affiliate program, ideally you would run your clients as affiliates, but yeah, you probably can't do that. So realistically, you're going to have to go organic. So we're talking content and we're talking outbound, right? Those are the 2 main ways, and then you can reinvest back into them once you actually get clients. But I'm making this video to show you how to get clients, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. So prospect receiving units of value. Now that's how it works, right? So in the content or the outbound, you would provide value and then you would have your offer. So in content, that's pretty easy to do, right? Like what I'm doing right now, providing value. In outbound, it's a bit harder, and that's why I generally think that if you are going to make money online, it's going to be significantly easier. And you can look back at this when you've made money in the future, you can come back and see if I'm right, but I can almost, I'm not going to guarantee, but I could almost guarantee that if you do make a lot of money, it will be because you're speaking and communicating like this rather than typing via emails or DMs, things like that. So that's just a quick tip, right? It's 90% likely that you're going to make money through speaking, and that's why content paid ads are the most powerful ways of getting clients, because you're able to get your personality across, you're able to get value across much easier. So that's just a story for another day, but nonetheless, right, you would provide value in these types of vehicles to get units of value across to prospects. And then if the conditions are met, so we're talking curiosity, pain versus action threshold, so just basic human tendencies and human nature to book an appointment, that's when an appointment will happen, right? So for example, if the prospect generally has a problem in their business and you provide value and become an educator in your niche and they see that, then they will hire you and give you money, right? So I can almost guarantee that 95% of you, yes, 95%, are watching this, meaning that you don't have any clients because you are stuck right here. So this is just the general, like, let's say pipeline, even though it's not really a pipeline, but most of you are stuck right here, this black wall right here, right? You're just not getting the value through to the prospects. The prospects are not receiving the units of value. So think about that. Like, you've got, and this isn't even like a complex, let's say pipeline, even though it's not. It's just a very simple value. Prospects receive that. value in your offer, right? And then they book an appointment. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but you're literally getting stuck right here and you're complaining about why you can't get clients. Like, I want you to ask yourself right now, how many people have you actually helped for free? How many people have you served? How many people have you solved problems for free? And I can almost guarantee that the answer, if you don't have any clients, is probably no more than 10. It's mind-blowing. It's actually mind-blowing. Now, if we go a bit deeper, why are prospects not receiving value? So why are you stuck at this thing right here? Well, it could be analysis paralysis. Maybe you've come across so many YouTube videos that you aren't doing anything. You've got too much information, which is most likely the case. Hence why I've put it as the first one. So yeah, it's a very common. I experienced that when I started. So you're not alone. I'm not having a go at you. It's, you know, it's been the thing that I've had to overcome. And it, you know, one of the main things that stuck in my head was this guy who essentially told me to be a bit like a rhino. Now, it sounds absurd, because you're thinking, how has a rhino got anything to do with being stuck and, you know, too much information, not doing anything? Well, rhinos can't actually see 30 feet, I believe, in front of them, whereas they actually run about 30 miles per hour or more, I think. So think about that. They can barely see in front of them. Their vision is awful. You can search for that. Their vision's actually really bad, but they run so fast. So what you need to do is to sprint, have urgency, even when you can't see too far into the future, right? So that's just a quick tip. Thinking is actually probably why you're in this position watching this video. You've probably heard Warren Buffett say it's a good year if he makes 3 good decisions. The only reason it's a good year if Warren Buffett makes 3 good decisions is because he's been analyzing the markets for 70 years. You have not got that empirical market research that he has. Therefore, don't think, just take action, gather data, gather insights, and then just constantly adapt it until it works, right? So, and like what I was saying up here, it will not be a combination of these things that will work. Now, you shouldn't be doing all 4, you should only be doing 2 max, like what I said about distributing your attention. But assuming, let's say you do content and outbound, like what I was saying, it's not going to be both of them working in a linear fashion. It will be one that will take over the other. That's just how it works, right? So, yeah, the second reason why prospects aren't receiving value could be you're doing the same thing as everyone else, which is also very common. Like, this is also what I experienced. So I know you're probably experiencing this because I experienced it. Now, I could be wrong, but, you know, I can't help everyone, right? So that's that. But yeah, like, don't watch YouTube videos about scripts. The reason this is probably better for you than other YouTube videos is because I'm teaching you static principles. So I'm teaching you things that you can actually use for years and years into the future, compared to a script that will just develop entropy and expire very quickly, right? So that's that. And then the third reason, which is very, very unlikely to be happening for you, is that prospects receive the value. So they are receiving the value, but they don't like the medium. So the way in which you present it, for example, some people like to listen to Spotify versus watch a YouTube video, right? So they prefer audio versus visual and vice versa and so forth, but they may not like the proposition. So your actual, what you're offering them, which also links to your offer. But this is very unlikely. If I had to guess, it is this one and a combination of this one. Okay, so that's why prospects are not receiving the value, because yeah, you are probably just doing the same thing as everyone else, and that's why it's not working. So I see that very commonly. Like, people use the same scripts, they watch YouTube videos, and it doesn't work, right? Be creative, guys. You aren't like a monkey. You aren't just copy and pasting stuff. But nonetheless, right, if you actually do this, you provide value to clients, and I'm going to give you an actual plan. So keep watching, because I'm actually going to give you a tangible, like, instructions, like a Lego instruction playbook that you can quite literally use after this video. So you gather feedback. As long as you just take action, which is why I'm telling you to just do it, you can then, yeah, you know, see if people are liking the value that you're giving them, which is your offer and so forth, right? Now, let me actually give you just daily actions, because I don't want anyone in the comments to be like, I'm confused or anything like that, because that's going to really annoy me. And I had it one time where someone said that there was no like next steps. So I'm going to lay it out to you like you're a baby pretty much. So let me just copy this and paste it into a new tab. For whatever reason it's not loading, but here we go. So essentially what I want you to do is to have inbound, so pull marketing, like what I was speaking about, having 2 out of those 4 strategies. So we've got inbound, which is middle of the funnel, which is quite common when you're starting. Now, I do want to just preference something, right? Let me just explain this, right? The reason a lot of people fail is because they send a DM. Hopefully you don't mind my poor handwriting, but they send a DM to a prospect and then they get a call down here. If you're lucky, you get an appointment. That's the key. If you're lucky, you'll get an appointment. But what happens is they completely miss out the middle of the funnel. So they just skip from sending a DM to a booked call if you're lucky, and then there's no middle of the funnel. So the middle of the funnel, right? Middle of funnel is meant for nurturing. This is where you essentially get the prospect to like, know, and trust you. So that's why before I even speak with people on sales calls, and bearing in mind I have a closer, I have a bunch of SDRs to manage calls and appointment settings, so I don't really take calls anymore, but let's just say I did take calls. Before I speak with that prospect, they already like, know, and trust me, and their perception of me is way higher in the market than you. So that's why I can close at a much higher percentage, making sales extremely easy, and you probably don't even need to hop on appointments if you have as many content assets as I do, or even a third of the amount of content assets that I do, right? But that's a story for another day. But my point is that this lack of middle of the funnel, because they go straight from the top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel, which is booking a call, the sales cycle is going to be extremely long. Now, this just means that you have to have like 1 call, 2 calls, 3 calls. I've even seen it where prospects have had to have 4 calls with beginners because they don't have a middle of the funnel, right? So that's why it's important you do inbound, even if it isn't bringing you the traffic to start with. And then what will happen is over time, the middle of the funnel will start to be your top of the funnel, and top of the funnel is how people find you, right? So that's that. So what I need you to do is post 1 valuable piece of content per day, right? That is all I need you to do. So for ideation, because you're going to be asking me, what do I post? And that's a valid question. I want you to think about what offer you're providing. So are you helping people with Facebook ads? Are you helping people with automations, Google ads? Are you helping people with fitness? I don't know, right? I don't actually know who watches my videos. I assume it's mainly agency owners, people who sell done for you services, done with you, maybe a bit of a hybrid. AI obviously is a massive one. That's, you know, what I'm a specialist in, but nonetheless, think about your service and make content around that. So for example, if you, let's just run Facebook ads as an example, I would be making videos like how to run Facebook ads for beginners in 2024, right? You want to rank, SEO, you want to get on platforms. So in terms of what platforms to post on, it comes down to where your niche hang out. But honestly, I'd be keeping this, let me just put this in brackets because I think it's super important. I'd be keeping this broad. Now, this is quite controversial because I know some people say that you should be using your niche in your titles and like things like that, but I wouldn't. Now, that's just my opinion. I'm not going to explain why because I'd be talking for another 10 minutes, but just keep it broad. You'll get a bunch more views. You'll increase CTR click-through rate, and you'll get more people to see your video, in which they can then, you can then filter out who you want to work with, but that's better than not getting any views in the first place, right? So nonetheless, keep it broad. Post 1 piece of valuable content, about your service and think about what your biggest competitors are doing. So just look at them, I guess. Just make sure if you're doing short form, include a hook. You can give away every secret you can think of because they're paying you to, you know, get the implementation and then get them to comment or share it to boost the algorithm. I wouldn't recommend telling people to DM you or book a call in your link. It just doesn't work, right? Just get them to DM, get them to interact with the post to boost it to more people. And that's always the best way of doing a call to action, in my opinion. And if you do a call to action, it should feel like you're giving rather than asking for something. And that's another really key thing. So that is all I need you to do. So just pick one platform and post once a day on it, and think about these and keeping it broad and stuff like that. Now, I want you to post 3 stories per day if you are using Instagram or Facebook. If you're not posting this on Instagram or Facebook, then I don't know, do something else. I don't really care, just do something else. Or just don't do anything. But yeah, then once a week, just look back at the 7 pieces of content you've done, find which videos have performed best. Then you've got your trending topics, and yeah, just analyze. And that's why I don't recommend like batch recording content for more than like a week, because ideally you want to look at it once a week and then change it if it's not working, right? But yeah, and if it's not getting views, which is the biggest constraint you'll probably run into, then try to find trending topics by looking at competitors, by looking at the niche and everything like that. But nonetheless, for outbound, this is more top of funnel, and this is push marketing, meaning we're pushing our offer onto people, and this is very niche dependent. So unlike this one where we're just keeping it broad and just letting everyone watch our content and then filtering it out, for outbound, I would personally recommend just, yeah, choosing who you want to work with. And that's the benefit of outbound, is that you can choose who you want to work with. Compared to inbound, you can't choose who wants to watch your video, right? But nonetheless, 50 semi-personalized DMs and 10 hyper-personalized value-driven DMs. So we are actually split testing this, right? Let me just write split testing so you understand, because most people don't split test enough. Like, you've got to understand that, like what I was saying at the start about how you should not be thinking if you are starting, it gets to a point where when you are doing like 50,000 a month, 100,000 a month, even more, it is all about thinking, right? And you have to find your growth lever is, you know, the one thing that you can do in your business to move the business forward, or what you can do today to move the business forward. But nonetheless, like, if you don't know what that one thing is, it's going to move the business forward. So that's why initially, like, doing these 4 things, just try and find one thing that works. So you need to put on your scientist hat and just experiment constantly by split testing. So that is why we are doing 50 semi-personalized DMs and then 10 hyper-personalized DMs, right? So yeah, for the hyper-personalized DMs, make sure you message them on like the platforms that they are active on, right? So let's say you were to message me, you should message me on school, you should message me on Instagram, emails, and I will see it. Like, it's pretty crazy, but I had one guy message me on all of those platforms, and just to, you know, for your information, people like me, they do see DMs, right? So it's more so that you just aren't probably sending them, or the value's not good, right? But nonetheless, or maybe it's not what they actually want to see. But if you can split test this, that is amazing. Do 25 follow-ups minimum. I would much rather you do 25 semi-personalized DMs and then spend the other 25 doing follow-ups, rather than just doing 50 follow-ups and then 50 DMs and then no follow-ups, right? Follow-ups are the most important thing that you could be doing in the outbound portion by far. It's not even close. Like, trust me, like, you just have to believe in me, okay? But nonetheless, 50 follows of ideal client profile. So if you're on Instagram, just follow 50 of the, you know, best clients you would want to work with. That's as simple as I can explain it. And if you do that, then what will happen is on your feed, when you log into Instagram, instead of seeing, I don't know, people dancing in, you know, bullshit, like, you know, you won't be doom scrolling. You will then actually have your clients on your feed on Instagram, and you can like their content, you can comment something cool about their content, and you can like their stories, which you also get on the feed on Instagram, right? And that's just an example. But if you can interact with their content, you're going to get more people follow you back. And then once they follow you back, they then will see your inbound. So, and then they'll become into your ecosystem, become a client, and so forth. And from my experience, you're very unlikely to chase your way to success. You will attract your way to success. You will attract the clients you want, and you do that through, it's much easier to speak, but assuming you don't, you can use these mechanisms to be able to get people to follow you, and then you have content to nurture, which is why it's the middle of the funnel. But this is great for getting people to know who you are by sending them a DM and so forth, right? And that's it. Literally, now all you need to do is break these 2 blocks into 90 minutes of deep work, and yeah, you're good to go. And then after that, you can do whatever you want. You can do light work if you want, so just responding back to DMs. But ideally, yeah, do 90 minutes of deep work in the morning with the content. So just get that out as soon as you can. And then maybe spend 90 minutes doing, you know, the DMs. And then, you know, that's what, 3 hours of work. That's all you need to do per day to actually get to like 10, 20, even more per month. Like, it's crazy how it's not about like you don't want to be a sheep. A sheep just like grazes on grass like all day. You want to be a lion. You just want to like work as little as possible. They only eat like once every 4 days, I believe. It's crazy. But when they do eat, they know exactly what they're doing. Whereas most of you guys just probably sit at your desk, like you watch YouTube for 6 hours, like not 6 hours, but you watch YouTube for like an hour or two. Then you, I don't know, maybe do some productive work. You build a landing page, and it's obvious why you're not making money. Okay. But nonetheless, make it fun. Like, you only have one life. Don't get wrapped up. Don't get emotional. It's actually easier to scale when you're less attached to the outcome. And yeah, be more creative. Do not copy others, as entropy will just slow you down, and enjoy the process. That's it from me. I'll put a free course, I believe, in the description to help you even more. I'm not selling you anything, but you know, that's just a free course with resources, tracking sheets, KPIs, all that good stuff. So if you want that, just check it out in the description. And yeah, I appreciate you watching to this end of the video, because that shows you're kind of serious. And make sure to like and subscribe, because I definitely want you watching more of my videos, which I'm going to provide even more value in. So yeah, take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.